There is nothing that I have said that has led to threats against these hospitals. These hospitals, the bomb threats and so forth, it's disgusting. The violence is disgusting. We condemn it. We condemn all violence.
Senator,
and
this
threats
happened
of
after
violence.
you and
But to
President
say,
Trump
no, no,
were,
Dana,
on
no,
the,
Dana,
were on the
to
debate
say,
stage, said
Dana,
that cats and dogs
you
were
asked,
being
you
eaten.
asked a
All right, guys, it's just the story that will never end. It just goes on and on, my friends. We're talking about Haitians and eating dogs and cats in Springfield, Ohio. So, if Trump screaming it on national TV wasn't enough, his vice presidential pick decided that he was going to go on the Sunday shows and embarrass himself. So we're going to take a look at what he said with Dana Bash on CNN in just a second. But before we get into it, guys, if you haven't already, please like the video. It helps get the video out. It shares it around. It's good for the algorithm. And then if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out massively. Trying to hit 500 before the election. I think I can do it. Just need your help. So, like I said, JD Vance decided to go on to CNN to defend this stupid position because in a way, he was sort of one of the first people who really started like signal boosting this out on social media and like, you know, having other people retweet this dumb story, this unsubstantiated story about the cats. So he's going to talk to Dana Bash, and she's going to do a much better job of holding him to account than she did in the first debate with Biden and Trump. So let's take a watch and then I'll react.
Just once and for all, you again started this in part by saying that, at which Donald Trump repeated on the debate stage, that, and he didn't say anything about the policies that you're talking about. He just said Haitians are eating dogs and cats. Can you affirmatively say now that that is a rumor that has no basis with evidence?
Dana, the evidence is the first-hand account of my constituents who are telling me that this happened. And by the way, I've been trying to talk about the problems in Springfield for months, and the American media ignored it. There was a congressional hearing just last week of angel moms who lost children because Kamala Harris let criminal migrants into this country who then murdered their children. The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
But it wasn't just a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast. You had one interview with her. You talk about pushing back against me, Dana. You didn't push back against the fact that she cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said that you're
be
creating
talking
a
about
story.
Public policy.
Sir, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you
Yes.
created.
It's a hell of an
So
admission.
the eating dogs and cats thing is not
accurate. Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to talk about this story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
Okay. So he admitted, that's why I say, like, that's a hell of an admission. He admitted that, like, yeah, we're creating this story in order to get more attention. He knows exactly what he's doing, okay? And he is just caught dead to rights. And look at that shit-eating grin on his face the whole time. But the real funny part, and there's this long pause. There's a little bit of a delay between, like, what he can hear and when she's actually speaking. But she caught him dead to rights. She said, like, so you're just making this stuff up. You just admitted that, like, you're making it up. And he goes, no, it's because of the constituents that have been telling me this. By the way, and I can link the whole interview. I think it's like 16 minutes long. Earlier, she actually talks about how they've gone through 911 calls in Springfield. There have only been 2 911 calls in the past 9 months of somebody alleging that Haitians were stealing geese out of the park and eating them. none of them have been substantiated. So again, he knows exactly what he's doing. And I actually saw somebody make this point, and I'm a little embarrassed that it took me this long to kind of be like, oh, duh. But like, they're doing this on purpose. Like, for me, I'm going like, a person with a rational, functioning brain would want to get past this immediately. But the reason that the Republicans and Trump and all these, bobblehead idiots in his circle keep going back to the people are eating geese, they're eating pets, is it's not just to stoke the political violence and to amp up the base who's just rabid about immigration. They don't want people talking about the horrible policies that Trump wants to propose. Trump keeps trying to distance himself from Project 2025. If you have never read it, you've never heard about it, it is a disaster. I'll put it that way. It is like a dystopian nightmare. It is a wish list of Republican wet dreams. Like, they want to ban porn and ban abortion, and they want to get rid of like any kind of regulation on anything. They want to make trying to protect the climate illegal. It's insanity. But they also don't want to talk about anything else in Trump's past, because he's got so much baggage, not just policy, like all of the criminal indictments, all of the, he's been credibly accused of rape, all of this stuff. So they're more than happy to do like, hey, look, squirrel, like get people to focus on something else. And if it's as dumb as talking about Haitian people eating cats and dogs and geese, it's a great distraction for them. And their political calculus is, it works out better for us than them talking about the real stuff. But what J.D. Vance does here is he keeps going back to, the constituents are the ones telling me. The constituents are the ones telling me. And we've talked about, like, I've talked about it. Other lefties have said it's totally unsubstantiated. The mayor is saying it's not happening. The police department there in Springfield is saying they've gotten 2 calls in the last 9 months and neither is substantiated. There have been these pictures that are circulating social media of like some guy carrying a goose. And apparently it was shown then that like 1, it wasn't in Springfield, and 2, the guy it's roadkill. Like it got run over or something like that. The governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, is a Republican and is also saying like, it's not happening. Please stop talking about that. But the funniest part is J.D. Vance acts like he's some, like helpless bystander in this whole problem with immigration, which, one, this started under Trump's administration. This, matriculation of Haitian people coming to work in Springfield. And they were wanted there because they needed people to fill, some of these jobs. But that started back during the Trump administration. And he keeps blaming Kamala Harris because they want to make a political issue out of it. But what they don't want to admit is that this started back in 2017. So they want to politicize it. They absolutely are trying to politicize this. And he keeps coming back to this whole, like, the town needs help and they need... And the reasonable debate to be had is having that big of an influx of people in the course of, like, I guess... 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it's been, is going to put a lot of strain on infrastructure, on, roads, the amount of traffic, the amount of accidents, the hospitals, the schools, all of this stuff. And there's reasonable debate to be had there. But again, J.D. Vance is acting like, well, we're just trying to get some focus here. He's one of 2 senators from the state, and he acts like he's helpless in being able to do anything about this. I had never heard about this story or any of these problems before they started talking about Haitian people eating cats and dogs. And that's what he's saying. He's like, well, we had to make up stories so that people would start paying attention to this. But that's not the reason. They don't care. They want this story in the news so that they can try and demonize immigrants and try and fire up the right-wing base. But what's also super, super embarrassing is that, like, he goes on to admit that he's like, oh yeah, my wife is Indian American. So it's like, you know full well what you're doing. And he's totally on board to just continue to perpetuate a lie that came from a Facebook post that the original post, the woman who posted it, said she regrets doing it because neo-Nazis picked it up and started spreading it around. I'm floored that they're still going with this. They are going to drive this one into the ground, and it is a loser politically. I'm sure their calculation is that it's better than the Democrats or the media talking about anything else going on with Trump. But it's just not going to work out well for him, I promise. Like, this is a distraction. And again, the thing that really, really, really bugs the shit out of me is that JD Vance knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows the consequences of it. He's sitting there going like, it's not my fault that there are bomb threats. Why do you think there are bomb threats there? Nobody got that in the news either. It's like, those weren't happening before you started putting out cat memes on social media about Haitians eating cats. So they're absolutely responsible for this. And I talked about this also in the video about the violence, like political violence in general, and why there's been a second assassination attempt on Trump. These guys act like, oh, I can't believe it's the left that does this. Bullshit. You guys do it all the time. And then they cry foul. Like, for people calling them out. Honestly. Anyway, I had a good time watching JD Vance get his pants pulled down on the air. Because that was fucking embarrassing, man. And he's gotten dog walked by a bunch of people over this issue. Guys, if you like that, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Again, we're trying to get to 500 before the election. Think we can do it. I just need a little bit of help. So share the video out with some other people, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.